Sales have collapsed, the stock is imploding, and across America, angry protesters are storming Tesla showrooms, turning the company's dream into a living nightmare. What you are about to see is not just a bad quarter, it is a full-blown rebellion against Elon Musk, against Tesla, and against everything they once represented. For years, Tesla was untouchable. It broke the rules. It reshaped the future. But now, the very system that built Tesla is tearing it down. So how did Elon Musk lose control of his empire so fast? Why are furious protests surging across the globe? And could Tesla's collapse be the warning sign for something even bigger, even closer to home? What's happening? They didn't show up to buy. They showed up to break. The first viral video hit in under 4 hours. Former Tesla loyalists, armed with signs and outrage, storming a Chicago dealership and demanding to be heard. They were once Tesla's proudest advocates, early adopters who had championed the brand at barbecues, office water coolers, and dinner parties. Now they were furious, and they had come to return their vehicles in protest. Similar scenes erupted across New York, Los Angeles, Austin, and even smaller cities like Des Moines and Boise. Some returned cars en masse, overwhelming dealership staff. Others staged sit-ins at Tesla showrooms, demanding refunds, citing political betrayal, or safety concerns related to Tesla's controversial full self-driving program. Showroom managers, untrained for civil unrest, scrambled to maintain order. In some places, Tesla had to hire private security to keep protesters from chaining themselves to demo vehicles. Parking lots that once sparkled with pristine Model 3s now became battlegrounds, sprayed with graffiti like "Dump Musk" and "Tesla betrayed us." It became more than just a political statement. Owning a Tesla started to signal allegiance to a side of America that many young, progressive buyers no longer wanted to be associated with. Local news stations framed the growing movement as a shift in American culture. "Is owning a Tesla the new taboo?" asked one headline in the Boston Globe. And as Tesla's most loyal customers turned against the company, the world's attention turned toward the people inside the company itself. And while the customers fled, Tesla's most important insiders were already making their escape. Insider Selloff, the rats start fleeing Musk's ship. For a company already reeling from Wall Street's cold shoulder and a customer uprising, the insider sell-offs were like salt in an open wound. It began quietly, as most betrayals do. Kimball Musk, Elon's own brother and longtime Tesla board member, began unloading millions of dollars worth of Tesla shares. At first, it was explained away: family wealth planning, diversification, the usual polite excuses. But then more names followed. Tesla's chief financial officer announced his departure and immediately liquidated his restricted stock options. Several board members, some of whom had sat beside Musk during Tesla's most triumphant earnings calls, suddenly filed to sell large blocks of shares. The optics were disastrous. Tesla insiders, people who had once been the loudest believers, were jumping ship with pockets full of cash. Wall Street analysts noticed immediately. Insider selling is never a good sign, but when it accelerates during a public relations crisis, it becomes a 5-alarm fire. CNBC panels openly speculated that Tesla's leadership no longer had faith in the company's future. Bloomberg analysts moved Tesla from neutral to sell within days. Morgan Stanley slashed Tesla's long-term price target by nearly 40%. Inside Tesla headquarters, morale collapsed. Employees who had once bragged about changing the world now whispered about updating their LinkedIn profiles. Recruiters from Ford, Rivian, and even Apple's secretive car division reported a sudden flood of resumes from Tesla engineers. Musk responded the way he often does, through bravado. He mocked the sell-offs, insisted that Tesla would emerge stronger, and told his remaining loyalists to hold the line. But outside the company's gleaming gigafactories, the rats had already fled. But Wall Street's betrayal was nothing compared to the knife waiting in Washington. Musk's political gamble backfires spectacularly. For years, Elon Musk had walked a delicate tightrope. He played both sides of the political spectrum. Progressives adored his environmental vision, while conservatives praised his entrepreneurial spirit. But in 2025, that balancing act finally collapsed. After months of increasingly vocal support for Donald Trump's administration and controversial policies, Musk found himself alienating the very customers who had built Tesla into a household name. Progressive buyers, who once proudly drove their Teslas as symbols of sustainability and tech innovation, now saw them as political statements they did not want to make. Surveys conducted by Ipsos and Gallup in early 2025 revealed a brutal truth. Tesla's favorability among urban millennials and Gen Z buyers had dropped by over 30% in just 6 months. Among self-identified Democrats, Tesla's brand favorability fell to its lowest level ever recorded. And it was not just customers abandoning the company. Investors were leaving too. Seeing blood in the water, rival automakers pounced. Ford, Hyundai, and BYD flooded the market with affordable, sleek electric vehicles aggressively marketed as apolitical choices. Vehicles for everyone, not just for one side of the aisle. Ford's F-150 Lightning, Hyundai's Ioniq 5, and BYD's Seagull hatchback carved away Tesla's customer base, piece by piece. Musk attempted damage control. In a series of interviews, he insisted that Tesla was for everyone, regardless of politics. He tweeted about renewable energy and posted photos of solar panels, but the damage was already done. In America's increasingly polarized climate, neutrality was not something you could buy back with a few hashtags. For Tesla, the political bet that Musk had made was not just a public relations blunder, it was a business catastrophe. And while Musk fought for headlines, Washington quietly reloaded for a kill shot. All this is backed by real research. Insider reports, stock filings, protest footage. If you want the truth, not the noise, hit subscribe now. Government strikes back. Tesla loses federal protection. Tesla enjoyed the unspoken blessing of Washington. Generous federal subsidies, regulatory advantages, and soft-touch oversight helped fuel its meteoric rise in the past. Tesla was not just another car company. It was a symbol of America's technological future. Every incentive, every tax credit, every favorable regulation seemed to be crafted with Tesla in mind. But political winds do not stay favorable forever. And as the Trump administration tightened its grip on the government apparatus, Tesla found itself out in the cold. The shift was brutal and unmistakable. New rules redirected billions of dollars in electric vehicle subsidies toward legacy automakers like Ford, General Motors, and Stellantis. These giants, once mocked as slow-moving relics, were now positioned as the patriotic face of the electric vehicle revolution. Tesla, by contrast, was increasingly framed as a Silicon Valley outlier, one that had grown too big, too global, and too political for the administration's liking. Almost overnight, Tesla lost access to critical tax credits that once shaved thousands of dollars off the cost of its vehicles. Federal contracts that once seemed inevitable slipped quietly into the hands of Ford and General Motors. Even small regulatory changes, a tweak to manufacturing requirements here, a change to battery sourcing rules there, squeezed Tesla harder and harder. In boardrooms across the industry, executives smiled behind closed doors. Tesla, once the government's golden child, was now the sacrificial lamb. Meanwhile, the government's attention turned increasingly hostile. Investigations into Tesla's full self-driving technology intensified. Regulatory agencies, once content to issue warnings, began filing formal inquiries. Reports of Tesla crashes involving autopilot systems flooded the news cycles. Safety regulators who once treaded lightly around Musk's empire were now emboldened, probing deep into Tesla's software practices, advertising claims, and manufacturing standards. And it did not stop there. Harsh new import tariffs targeted components that Tesla depended on for its battery production. Supply chains that had once flowed easily from China, Europe, and South America now became expensive, tangled messes. Tesla's advantage, speed, innovation, and a global supply network was being systematically dismantled by policies designed to favor the old American giants. The cruelest irony was that Tesla had helped build the very market it was now being locked out of. It had pushed the boundaries of electric vehicles, normalized the idea of sustainable transportation, and forced an industry to evolve. Now that same industry, backed by new government favor, was turning against its creator. The hand that once fed Tesla had pulled the plug, and worse still, it was just the beginning. And across the Pacific, an even colder betrayal was brewing. China's ruthless betrayal. Tesla's foreign empire crumbles. When Tesla broke ground on its Shanghai Gigafactory in 2019, it was hailed as a masterstroke, a rare American triumph on Chinese soil. In record time, Tesla established a beachhead in the world's fastest-growing electric vehicle market. Sales skyrocketed, production boomed, and Tesla's stock soared. But beneath the surface, the ground was already shifting. In China, gratitude has an expiration date, and Tesla's had just run out. Chinese automakers like BYD, NIO, and XPeng, once seen as scrappy upstarts, had grown into world-class competitors. With massive state funding, unlimited government backing, and favorable regulatory treatment, they quickly closed the technology gap. BYD, in particular, unleashed a flurry of affordable, high-quality electric vehicles that appealed to the rising middle class. NIO dazzled the luxury segment with battery-swapping technology and concierge-level service. XPeng carved out its own niche with aggressive pricing and cutting-edge autonomous features. Tesla, meanwhile, faced mounting restrictions. Regulators began tightening safety requirements, specifically around foreign-made vehicles. Local governments that had once offered Tesla generous land grants and tax breaks now reserved those favors for domestic brands. New nationalistic campaigns framed the purchase of a Tesla as unpatriotic, an affront to China's rising industrial pride. Sales plummeted. Once Tesla's most profitable international market, China was quickly becoming a nightmare. Nationalist boycotts spread across major cities. Owners were harassed, vehicles vandalized, and Tesla's once iconic image as a futuristic pioneer morphed into a symbol of foreign intrusion. Behind closed doors, Tesla's Shanghai operations faced growing pressure. Inspections increased. Supply deliveries were mysteriously delayed. Contracts with local suppliers were renegotiated, always to Tesla's disadvantage. It became clear that Tesla was being slowly squeezed out, not by competition alone, but by a coordinated government-led strategy to replace it with homegrown champions. The betrayal was devastating. Tesla had invested billions, trained thousands of Chinese workers, and helped position China as the center of the electric vehicle universe. Now it was being methodically cut out of the future it helped build. And yet, as brutal as the betrayal in China was, it paled in comparison to the storm about to hit Tesla's core promise, the dream of self-driving domination. Cornered at home, surrounded abroad, Tesla's last defense was the dream it once sold the world, the self-driving mirage, a broken promise exposed. Elon Musk spoke of a fleet of autonomous vehicles generating passive income for owners, of a world where human driving would become obsolete, a charming relic of a more dangerous past. Investors believed. Customers believed. Wall Street believed. And Tesla's stock valuation soared into the stratosphere because of it. But belief only goes so far against reality. Fatal accidents involving Tesla vehicles operating on autopilot and full self-driving beta programs began stacking up at an alarming rate. Videos circulated online. Teslas running red lights, crashing into stationary fire trucks, slamming into highway barriers. Each incident chipped away at the myth. Lawsuits piled up. Families devastated by accidents claimed Tesla had misrepresented its technology's capabilities. Regulators circled, scenting blood. Meanwhile, competitors surged ahead. Companies like Waymo, backed by Google's relentless resources, quietly rolled out true autonomous taxi fleets in Phoenix, San Francisco, and other cities. Their cars navigated without human intervention. They did not promise future updates. They delivered fully driverless rides today. Tesla, by contrast, continued to hedge. Full self-driving still required human supervision. Drivers were urged, sometimes begged, to keep their hands on the wheel, ready to intervene at any moment. Updates were incremental, plagued by glitches and inconsistencies. Tesla's dream of a robotic chauffeur remained just that, a dream. Worse yet, the Federal Trade Commission launched an investigation into Tesla's marketing of autopilot and full self-driving. Were customers misled? Was Tesla's advertising deceptive? The legal consequences could be catastrophic, including massive fines and new restrictions on how Tesla could promote its vehicles. Consumer trust eroded faster than any stock price ever could. Surveys showed that a growing majority of the public no longer believed Tesla's self-driving claims. For a company built on the future, losing that future meant losing everything. And without the future to sell, Tesla had to face its grim, crumbling present. Without the future to sell, Tesla had to face its present. And the numbers were terrifying. Tesla's cash burn crisis. Death by 1,000 discounts. As sales declined across China, Europe, and the United States, Tesla resorted to the oldest, bluntest weapon in the corporate arsenal. Price cuts. Huge ones. Across every model line. Vehicles that once carried premium price tags now sold for tens of thousands of dollars less. The goal was clear: stimulate demand at any cost. At first it worked. Briefly. Order books filled up. Inventory moved. Headlines cheered the Tesla sale. But behind the scenes, the math was disastrous. Profit margins, once the envy of the auto industry, collapsed. Tesla's unique ability to generate higher profits per vehicle than legacy automakers evaporated almost overnight. Making matters worse, Tesla's lucrative side business, selling carbon credits to other automakers, also dried up. Ford, General Motors, and others no longer needed to buy credits to meet emissions standards. Tesla lost one of its hidden revenue lifelines. With every discount, Tesla bled cash faster. Its vaunted reserves, once strong enough to survive years of volatility, began to shrink dangerously. Analysts who once spoke of Tesla's infinite runway now whispered about 12 months of survival. It was death by 1,000 discounts. Each cut made to save the day. Each cut mortgaging Tesla's future just a little more. And while Tesla's books bled red ink, its brand image bled something far worse: relevance. The company that once made people dream about the future now looked desperate to survive the present. And the perception Tesla once dominated was slipping through its fingers. And if perception was lost, the supply chain would soon follow. Supply chain mutiny. When suppliers get nervous, it's already too late. Tesla had built its empire on a tightrope. A delicate balancing act of innovation, vertical integration, and audacious supply chain bets. But in a world where perception rapidly eroded and political headwinds stiffened, even Tesla's formidable supply network began to buckle. Suppliers who once bent over backwards to meet Tesla's aggressive deadlines and custom specifications were now hedging their bets elsewhere. Key battery manufacturers, semiconductor firms, and parts suppliers began prioritizing contracts with rivals who looked safer and more stable. Companies like BYD, Volkswagen, and General Motors. Tesla's reputation for sudden contract changes, price renegotiations, and public spectacle made it a risky partner in an already uncertain global market. The consequences were immediate and brutal. Battery supply shortages forced Tesla to slow production at gigafactories from Austin to Shanghai. Assembly lines that once operated around the clock were now idling for days at a time. Each pause bled revenue, sapped morale, and sent more customers fleeing into the arms of the competition. Musk, ever the deal maker, tried to salvage relationships. He pushed for renegotiated supply terms, offering higher payments or longer contracts. But the leverage he once enjoyed had vanished. Tesla was no longer the only game in town. Suppliers had options now. Safe, growing clients who did not bring regulatory probes or boycotts with them. And while Tesla scrambled to find batteries and chips to keep its factories alive, Musk faced a revolt he could not control. Organized activism. The customers who made Tesla a legend are now tearing it down. What began as isolated protests outside a few showrooms had by now exploded into an organized international movement. The Dump Tesla campaign was no longer a fringe cause. It was a full-blown cultural phenomenon sweeping across Europe, Canada, Australia, and most critically, Tesla's home market in the United States. Their strategy was simple and devastating. If Tesla's cars became financial liabilities instead of aspirational assets, new customers would hesitate to buy, and existing owners would lose wealth alongside brand loyalty. It was economic warfare at a grassroots level, and it was working. Corporate partnerships began crumbling as well. Companies that had once proudly featured Tesla vehicles in their sustainability campaigns quietly pulled them from ads. Celebrities once eager to be photographed beside their Model X now issued public statements disassociating themselves from Musk's empire. Even environmentally focused nonprofits severed ties, citing brand incompatibility. The movement had become self-sustaining. Each viral video of vandalized Cybertrucks, each trending hashtag calling for boycotts, each expose on Tesla's crumbling quality control only fed the fire. And as Tesla's present collapsed, its future dreams flickered and died. Future collapses first. Tesla's innovation engine stalls. Tesla once lived and died by its reputation for being the most innovative force on the planet. Its vehicles were not just cars, they were rolling statements of future dominance. But as the storm clouds closed in, it became clear that the very edge Tesla had relied on was dulling at a terrifying pace. Key engineers, some of the brightest minds behind Tesla's artificial intelligence, battery research, and autonomous driving projects, began slipping away quietly. One by one, the people who had built the dream decided to rebuild it elsewhere, lured by rivals like Apple, Rivian, and even smaller upstarts, promising better working conditions, higher salaries, and fewer scandals. The exodus was not just a slow bleed, it was a brain drain. Projects that Musk had once teased as Tesla's unstoppable future. The long-awaited semi-truck, the next-generation roadster, the mass-market robotaxi fleet, were all quietly delayed indefinitely. Announcements were postponed. Deadlines became jokes. The Semi, originally promised in 2017, missed yet another production year, now delayed with no clear timeline. The Roadster, a car that was supposed to reset expectations for electric performance, became little more than a logo on a dusty prototype. And the robotaxi network, Musk's grand vision of an autonomous taxi empire, dissolved into vaporware, overshadowed by rising lawsuits over Tesla's full self-driving claims. Compounding the crisis was Musk himself. As Tesla needed leadership more than ever, his attention was divided. Scandals around his other ventures, like Starlink's international regulatory clashes and Neuralink's alleged ethical violations, drained focus and credibility. Instead of refining Tesla's survival strategy, Musk was busy sparring with critics online, battling regulators, and throwing himself into side projects that offered none of the lifelines Tesla desperately needed. The innovator had become the distraction. And without its bleeding-edge aura, Tesla was beginning to look alarmingly like just another automaker, only one with mounting debts and crumbling goodwill. Without innovation, Tesla's last hope was simple survival, and even that slipped away. Bankruptcy fears ignite Tesla's survival in question. Bankruptcy was the ghost Musk joked about, a dark cloud he claimed Tesla had narrowly escaped during the Model 3 production hell. But now it was no longer a joke, it was a real, looming threat. Financial analysts who once gushed over Tesla's endless potential began running grim bankruptcy models. Bloomberg, Reuters, even traditionally bullish institutions like Morgan Stanley issued warnings. Tesla's cash burn rate was unsustainable. Some predicted that if sales trends continued, Tesla could run out of operating cash within 18 to 24 months. What began as whispers in private investment meetings spilled into the headlines. The stock market responded with brutal efficiency. Tesla's valuation tumbled further, erasing tens of billions of dollars in shareholder wealth in a matter of weeks. Bankers who once lined up to finance Musk's bold expansions now quietly pulled back credit lines, citing increased risk factors. Inside Tesla, the mood turned from tense to panicked. Massive cost-cutting measures were unleashed almost overnight. Entire product lines were quietly canceled or postponed. Thousands of employees, from factory workers to senior managers, found themselves abruptly laid off. often with little more than a severance packet and a cold press release. Entire departments were consolidated or shuttered outright, including research divisions that had once been hailed as Tesla's innovation engines. Elon Musk tried to project confidence, staging emergency meetings with investors and employees where he painted Tesla as a wounded but not defeated warrior. But the reality was harder to hide. Suppliers demanded faster payments, knowing Tesla's liquidity was fragile. Leaked emails from internal meetings revealed desperation behind the scenes. Executives begging for short-term cash fixes, delaying supplier invoices, scrambling for fast production pivots to cheaper models. Tesla was no longer expanding. It was no longer leading. It was fighting for its life, and the clock was ticking. And at the end of it all, one final question remained. The only one that mattered. Tesla's last stand. Can Musk escape one final time? In the final months of the collapse, Tesla became a battlefield. Inside, Elon Musk launched a last-ditch survival effort that stunned even his harshest critics. Factories were gutted for efficiency. New vehicle projects were axed entirely. Musk forced brutal cost cuts, slashing executive perks and issuing company-wide mandates for hardcore delivery focus. It was Musk's playbook from the early Tesla days, but now deployed with far less goodwill and far more desperation. Wall Street analysts split sharply. Some believed Musk would pull off yet another improbable comeback, citing his history of escaping disaster. Others saw only doom, projecting Tesla's cash reserves dwindling to dangerous lows within a year. The public, too, was divided. Loyal Tesla fans rallied online, begging Musk to do it again. Others, disillusioned by broken promises and political chaos, moved on. Dealership lots filled with returned Teslas, silent witnesses to a changing tide. Every day became a new headline: layoffs, plant closures, loan defaults. Some companies that had bet their fleets on Tesla vehicles quietly shifted orders to Ford and Rivian. Governments that once courted Musk for clean energy projects now wooed his competitors. And yet, through it all, Musk fought. He held emergency investor summits. He offered tearful speeches to remaining employees. He slashed prices deeper than ever before, trying to keep sales alive. He even hinted at stepping down from Tesla leadership, a move designed to calm nervous shareholders. But whether any of it would be enough remained painfully unclear. As the final quarter numbers approached, the world watched. Would Tesla pull off one last miracle, or would it become the cautionary tale of the century? The collapse of Tesla was not just about a car company. It was a warning for America itself. What do you think? Is Tesla about to pull off one last miracle? Or is this the final meltdown? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Hit subscribe if you want real breakdowns without the sugarcoating. And I'll see you in the next one.